Alrighty then, welcome to another Q&A video. This is episode 2, I believe, and I'm very happy with the feedback I got on the first episode. If you want to go ahead and watch that one, I'll leave a link either in the iCard or at the end of the video. See if you want to have a catch-up kind of, or a refresher on what this series is kind of about. So I kind of want this series to be about where I'm quite literally just answering your questions, and hopefully it'll be to do with either the videos that I've made before, which are the bicycle touring films that I've made, or some of the stories that I've talked about, or the podcasts that I recently had with my friend, or any of these sort of topics where I can try and help you guys. That's kind of the whole point of the series, really, is to because I thought about what's the main goal of my channel, and I think the main goal is to share the experiences that I'm having in my life, and also just my general journeys, and also especially when it comes to bikes, and then to kind of give tips and advice on that. I thought about making my own series on like where I sit down with the computer and I look at the map and I show you where I've been before. Excuse me, and we go through the countries and I tell you about their culture or the roads or the people. Just the list is quite endless, really, on the kind of advice I can give. I think Sweden's a really great place for bicycle touring because of the amount of nature. But if you prefer, towns in between, then maybe you should go to France and tour there. But anyway, let's just begin this video. Question 1. Paul Williamson is asking, another question for your Q&A video. Which mapping do you use on your phone to follow the route? What uses the least amount of power and mobile data? And do you use paper maps? No, I don't use paper maps. I would highly recommend you to watch the video I made called How to Turn Your Smartphone into a GPS. In that video, I'm discussing about the maps that I use for the riding and for recording. I use Strava, for example, for recording. But for the maps, I would highly recommend looking at Google Maps because there's an offline feature in there where you can download a map. And Strava, OSM, which is an OpenStreetMap, is an application on the Google Play Store as well, and on the iPhone. And it downloads very high resolution detail of routes, maps, and roads, and all that stuff, hiking routes, so you know what you're going to be up against. That's what I use. I would recommend you to watch that video. And the offline maps are only available for car mode instead of the cycling, but that's kind of a small price we have to pay. Yeah. Anyway, question 2. This isn't really a question, but I wanted to answer it anyway. Support me on Patreon as YouTube are demonetizing my videos at the moment, and underneath James Enter was adding questions like maybe it's the music or the cursing that you do. Honestly, I think that YouTube's algorithm for those sort of things has gotten really tough lately, and it's kind of making the whole program really just not great to use. When I upload a video, it's like 50% chance it'll get immediately demonetized for very little cause. Like, swearing is like a very mild thing, I would say. And when I'm in these moments where it's very raw footage, I'm like, let's say battling a tornado, I'm like, shit, I want to get away from this thing. That's kind of, the rawness of it, and I think it's very important to not censor everything about that. The music is fine. I know that it's all non-copyrighted music, and I leave links for the artists down below in every video because I think it's awesome music, personally. Next one is from the same guy, Paul Williamson. Have you cycled in the UK? If so, in the UK, how do you find cheap accommodation to stay over the night? Now, personally, I use two main things for finding people to stay with, and that would be Couchsurfing and Warmshowers.org. I'll leave links down below if I remember. Couchsurfing.com is a bit like, it's a backpacking traveler kind of thing, and also to stay with locals and stuff, and you talk with them and share a meal with them maybe. As an exchange, you could, do the dishes at the end of the evening. And Warmshowers is like that, but for cyclists. I think it's actually kind of better, the ecosystem on Warmshowers, but that's if you're a cyclist, of course. And you can do, I also did camping. And also, I have to also stress, I'm from the UK, so it's kind of funny that you're saying that. To me, it's just funny because I'm like, I've been all over the British Isles, really. I haven't been to every town, of course, but I've been to Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England, the main countries. Um, and I've cycled in Wales, England, and Scotland. And I think that Scotland's great. The roads aren't great, in my opinion, but the people are really nice and very friendly. The landscape's much better than the UK, in my opinion. I mean, than England, should I say. Wales also has some very nice landscape, but I think it's a bit more crowded, to be honest. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. I would like to make videos like that, talking about the countries and my experience in these countries. Question 4 from Traveling Tice, who actually has a YouTube channel of his own of his bike touring. I'd recommend you to go and check out his channel. And he is asking, what camera do you use for your videos? I think it's he says I have one. I think it's the GoPro he's talking about, because I've got a GoPro Hero Session which I use for my recent tours. Previously, when I was in Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey, Croatia, Italy, Spain, all these other countries, in my first bit of touring, I didn't have all these nice cameras and stuff. I just had my smartphone, which looks awful. And it's really a shame because I went through the most beautiful scenery in Croatia and I had the most awful phone. It was just terrible. But now I'm using the GoPro, which is much better for, cycling videos. And I use my Samsung as well. My Samsung S5 Active is the one I use. I think they're very good. I just wish I had better quality. The camera which I had before, which was a Sony A7, which is a DSLR, or a mirrorless DSLR, should I say, and it's incredible. I really recommend that camera, but sadly I can't use it anymore. It's not mine. I sold it. Anyway, question 5, which is that the last one we've got? Yeah, question, or close to it, question 5 from Georgie Glenn. Sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, mate. Damn, this series deserves more views. It's not really a question, but I wanted to talk about it. The series that I have made, the America series, I've poured a lot of hours, literally. I mean, people say, oh, I've poured a lot of hours into it. I've literally put months of editing into this series, and I would really appreciate it if you really do like the series, just share it around or something. See if anyone else might enjoy it. The videos, to me, are to share my story so that you guys can see these places I've been to. Like when I was researching to go to these countries, like Finland or Sweden or the United States or Canada, I was looking at these videos to see if I would like it there. And now I've got my own, and my own way of telling my own story, and that to me is the most important part. So that's kind of what the channel's about, if people are wondering what it's really about. Anyway, let's move on to question 6. This is the last one, I think. Charlie Whiskey, what happened to the tent? What tent was that in the video? He's referring to my bicycle touring setup, my ultra lightweight one, which I would still use, I guess. The tent was the REI Passenger 1, so it's a one-man tent. It's really good. It weighed 1.6 kilos, I believe. It was pretty good. I would recommend it, to be honest. I recently bought a new tent, though, because it's in France right now, and I'm in the US, and I'm flying someone else where I can't get that, so I needed to get another one. But I would recommend it. It's still kind of heavy, though, so you can get lighter tents. I would recommend always having a bivy tent or a one-man tent for ultralight weight setups. You don't need these fancy ones. So let me know what you think of this Q&A. I recently just changed, as you can hear, the microphone quality is slightly different. This is because I will be traveling soon and I plan to take my Mac with me, and I won't be able to take this nicer microphone with me, so I'm going to have to use this setup. I'm sorry about that. Let me know what you think. I recently made a new logo. Could you also let me know what you think about that? I've got some comments I had on my Instagram, which was kind of like all over the place. Some people would say the music in my intro was a little. Um, the logo is the one which plays at the beginning of this video, by the way. And it's kind of like this infinity logo. To me, it represents kind of like continuous journey sort of thing. And I want the channel to be a bit more dynamic so that I can post sort of not everything, not too different, but to have a bit more flexibility so that we can have other audiences and ideas on the channel. It's solely going to be more around still bike touring because I really love it so much. But recently, you realize I had some really strong experiences lately where if you want a link to the video, I'll leave an iCard or something. It's about an accident which happened in Canada, and I don't want to talk about it in this video. But for me, it's kind of shed a light on what I'm doing, and that you can have any, how do I put it? Like, any experience that you have is an experience. It doesn't always have to be one way. Like, I know that I've met a lot of people who are very, 100% with the bike, and I used to do that a lot. Like, it was my only way to get around. I really wanted to only get around by foot or by bike. And I think it's awesome, but at the same time, you're going to create a lot of restrictions and you're going to lose your flexibility with people. And with hosts, I would sometimes have to just go with the car. And if they want to, the way I did it was that if you ever see any of the routes that I've done, the route that I've drawn out is 100% me on a bike. I've never used a car for those routes. But when I stay with people, I don't mind if I leave my bike at their house and then we go out for dinner or we go to the shop or we hang out or whatever. I don't care. We could fly to the other side of the planet and come back right where my bike was and continue from there. That's the way I kind of viewed it. And a lot of the stuff that I've done on my channel has a lot of insights or views that you could just ask me anything about the tours that I've done. I've toured in 35 different countries at least. I've got a lot of knowledge on these places. I want to share it with you guys. And anyway, this video is getting long. That's it. Like, subscribe, and that's it. I will see you guys in the next video.